What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. So if you watched the last video, I basically explained the process that I'm doing with like the jamming and stuff like that. In this video, hopefully we're gonna have the whole car put together. You see the trunk is primed again because I blocked it and it wasn't good, so I had to do a bunch more body work, reprime it. So now today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna block that out. Hopefully it's good. It should be good. I'm really hoping it's good. Block that out. Then we will block the car out, so like the quarters and fenders, and then basically just the roof because the rest is off the car. So we'll get everything sanded and then start putting the pieces back on the car. We'll have a full car. And then we're gonna start basically cleaning up in here because it's a huge mess, and obviously you can't paint in that. So I'm gonna sweep it out, blow it out, just clean all the garbage out of here. Then I'm gonna start basically taping up the car for paint on the exterior of the car now. So that's super exciting. Also, there might be a little surprise with the paint on the outside of the car, but I haven't really figured it out yet. I'm just just figuring stuff out as I go pretty much. But yeah, pretty pumped. So I'm just gonna get into it with the trunk, and then with the car, I might not film like that much of it because it's all the same. It's just sanding. And I pretty much went over all of it in the last video. So if you're interested with anything that I'm doing, wondering like the process or whatever, just watch the last video and it's pretty much all in there, and I basically explain why I'm doing it this way and how I do it and stuff like that. So anyways, just get into it and start with that trunk, and hopefully it's good. Well, that's all sanded now. It blocked out like pretty good. It feels decent. Didn't break through anywhere or anything like that, so it should be good. So basically, I got it all blocked now, this quarter panel with 220. See, it's looking pretty good. I mean, it's hard to see, it's not, you know, glossy, but basically what I do is, like, you saw down here, I sanded this whole kind of like body line here, then I covered it in tape, so that way when I block this to that, there'd be a nice sharp edge here, like they're supposed to be. And then the reason I taped up here was because I did a bunch of body work back there because I welded in the antenna hole was in here, and it kind of moved the metal around or whatever. And then I also did a bunch of body work around here because when I rolled these fenders, it wasn't the nicest thing ever. So I just made a nice straight line, just like it would have been for the factory, but now it's a little bit too sharp, which is fine because you can just knock it back down. So yeah, I'm gonna go DA it with some 400 and then hit it with a 600, and then this will be done. I'll just DA kind of down here because it doesn't matter. It's covered by the side skirt anyways. So I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna leave the tape on because I want this line nice and sharp because it's supposed to be, as well as the front one. So I'll do the same thing there. So my GoPro died, but I got the fender all done. Got all down the rocker all done. So this side is completely done now. It's all been 220, 400, 600. So it's completely done now. So I'm just gonna go over to this side now and do the same thing, you know, that I did over there on this side. And we'll get this all done. And then we'll untape all of this, uncover all this, get all the plastic off, and then do the roof. Okay, so I got this side completely blocked out and then sanded, and all the edges, everything's done. This side is completely done. But anyways, now I just gotta pull off some of this plastic and get to doing the roof. And then once that's done, well, I gotta do the roof and then like basically the front and rear window like frame. Then once that's done, then I'm gonna start putting the doors back on, get everything all lined up and that. Well, I filmed all that, but for whatever reason, my GoPro decided it didn't want to. But anyways, roof, window frame, front and back. is all done now. Now what I'm gonna do is just in here really quick. Because when this is closed, all you see is the rubber sticking out. And even when it's like folding up and stuff, this is covered as like a metal track basically where the rubber kind of clips in there. So you don't even see this. Same with up here. This is completely covered by a rubber. It like sits at this very edge and then like the roof comes down to it. So you don't see any of this. So basically all I'm gonna do is just scuff in there really quick and then basically just spray bomb like black, just so it's not blue in case you do happen to see something. But when I did the door jambs, I didn't wanna do this like purple because I'd have to tape the whole entire car up like even more and it's just like impossible. So I'm gonna do up in here, just gonna scuff it really quickly and just maybe mask off, tape off the plastic, like the headliner, and just make it black, just so it's not blue anymore. And yeah, no one will ever know. You wouldn't know unless I told you, which I just did, but yeah. So this way I won't have to, you know, tape up the whole car all over again. And while I was doing the jams, it was impossible to do this at the same time because I had to do this and up here and under here. It wouldn't work. So whatever, I'm gonna do it now very quickly. That way it's just completely done. And then I'll close the roof down again and then put the trunk frame down and then we'll start putting these doors back on. So I didn't film any of it, but my girlfriend came home and she actually gave me a hand putting doors on. Well, this one is good. Lines up, you know, pretty good, pretty solid all the way around. Good gap, pretty happy with that. This side though, you see it's almost touching there, which isn't good because the side skirt has to go in there. Kind of overlaps, and then it's like a big gap up there, which isn't terrible, but just that almost touching is pretty terrible. So in order to adjust that, you have to be able to get at the hinge bolts, which are behind the fender. So now I gotta take that fender off, which I was trying not to do because I didn't want to break the bolts on the bottom, but I actually got them out. They're really crusty, but both of them came out, so I guess not a big deal. Hopefully once I get that fender off, I can loosen off the bolts on the hinges and just kind of lift it up a crack and get that to go up. But that's gonna open this up so that I'm gonna have to undo the top one and kind of move it back to close that back up and make this a nice gap. But this is exactly why I tear the car apart and then put it back together, because I don't want to deal with all of this when all of this paint, and mainly all of this paint, is fresh. So if I would have chipped, I didn't, I mean, nothing happened, but if I would have slipped and chipped and scratched or whatever the edge, I'd be very upset. I'd have to repaint either the door or the fender or both, blend them out. It would just be a pain. So this way, if something happens, I can just, you know, touch it up with a little bit of primer, no big deal. And yeah, then I'll go and paint it and everything will be happy. So you get this fender off. So now I can get to those. Hopefully I can just crack them loose and then maybe lift up on the back and have a little bit of movement and adjustment in there, and just to get it up enough and then move it back. So we'll see what happens. I don't really have high hopes because these new cars are usually kind of like set exactly where they are and there's not much adjustment, but took the fender off, so I'm really hoping there's something. That moved. Oh yeah. So that's quite a bit of movement there. That's good. Now the issue is when I lift that up to get the gap on the bottom, it moves the bottom corner out and then the top in, right? Because it's pivoting. So I actually have to undo the top and like move the whole door kind of like in the opening, which sucks, but that didn't move at all. So we'll see what happens when I go to open that. Oh yeah, lots of movement, okay. Now the hard part is you can't really do this by yourself because you have to have someone down there putting the door in position where you want it, and then someone down here tightening the bolts and then watching that as they tighten them, because sometimes they'll move and it'll pull itself back into the position it was or whatever. So I'm gonna have to go get a hand and we'll see what we can do. Okay, tighten the bottom one. Okay, tighten it there. It's too tight right here. It's just in the corner though. Okay, loosen the bottom one again. Okay, tighten it.
Okay.
That's pretty good there. There's two, and we tighten one, tighten them both. Just make sure it doesn't move again. Don't loosen it, please. Don't loosen.
What the hell I'm doing? That's loosening it.
Okay, that's tightening it.
It feels like it's loosening it, that's all.
Oh my god, these were not tight at all. So now, you can see that's got a really good gap now, and it's even all the way up. Now, that's good. Just gonna throw that fender back on. We'll be back where we started, and then we can throw the hood back on, and then we'll be pretty good. Just gotta then put the trunk on. So I haven't really been filming much. I've just been trying to get this thing done, but the whole car is back together. Doors are on, trunk's on now, hood is on. Everything looks pretty good. Basically, I got all in here cleaned out now. Blew it out for like an hour. Blew the car all out, so everything is ready. So I'm just gonna jack it up now, get the wheels off, and then, because I don't want it to be too high, so I can like reach the middle of the roof pretty good, I'm just gonna put it on 4x4s instead of big jack stands, because also this floor is super slippery, and it always like sketches me out when I put them on jack stands, because the little feet slide super easy, and it's almost fallen a couple times. So I'm just gonna jack it up, take the wheels off, and then put it back down on the 4x4s, start taping. That's gonna take a while. I'm hoping to have all the taping done today, and then tomorrow I can just come in here and paint it and be done with it, and that would be really cool. This took forever. This was literally 12 hours yesterday and like 3 hours today. Tape the car up, tape the floor up. And then I got a new fan setup thing for the door. And then I decided to like fill in and cover, you know, all the open areas. So it's actually, I don't know, I turned it on and it like sucks the paper. So it should be a decent amount of like vacuum. So I don't know, we'll see what happens, I guess. But car is all ready, 100%. Got everything here, and basically all I gotta do is wipe it down with the cleaner, and then basically just start spraying. So, I don't know, I'm really nervous. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully that exhaust setup works a lot better than the one I had going before. But, anyways, we'll see what happens. So it's all based now. It's looking really good though. See, this doesn't look too bad. This thing sucks. It's still like insane amount of overspray in here, but can't really expect much. It's a little tiny fan. But so basically what I did was I put 2 coats of the black down. I wasn't going to, but that was the whole point of getting the black primer, but I just didn't like the way that the primer sanded and left all those like unsanded looking areas, so I just wanted to cover it with black first. So whatever, it doesn't really matter. But then I did 2 coats of the purple, and then like 1/3 like kind of effect coat. So now this is actually kind of a surprise. I'm gonna clear it, but when I do that, I actually got something for it. This is gonna go over top of that, and we'll see what that looks like. I did a little test piece. I liked it a lot. I really hope that I like it on the whole car, because it's like a lot different than just a little tiny piece. But I don't know. I didn't really want to go all this way, go this far, this much work, and then like wish that I would have put flake in it or did a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because like the color is really cool and I like it. And a lot of people said like, oh, the color looks good without the flake. And I was like, yeah, it does, but like, I don't know. I think this being the purple flake on the purple, I think it'll help a lot. The reasons that I didn't like the rainbow flake was because when it wasn't in the direct sunlight, it just looked like gray, like kind of like specks in the paint, just looked dirty. So this is at least a color, the same color over this color. So I think it'll be good. Really pumped to see it on the whole car. Like I said, I did test piece and I like how it looked. So hopefully it's gonna look good on the whole car. You can do that now. I'm freaking pumped. This is so sick. This has been like 7, almost 8 months in the making now. So it's coming along pretty good. Yeah, I'm just gonna mix up some clear, dump a bunch of flake in it, and we'll see how it looks. Yeah, I got some clear mixed up here. So basically I'm just gonna dump a bunch of this in there. Some guys measure, but I probably should, but I won't. I don't know how much to put in. Probably more. The only thing is I just have to remember kind of how much I used. So when I go do the parts, then it matches. A little bit more. I just want to do like 1, maybe 2 light coats, just basically to get the flake on the car, and then I'm going to do 2 coats of just the clear to like kind of bury that, and then I'll obviously have to like sand it and re-clear it to smooth it right out, but this should do for now. Okay, I'm just going to finish mixing this up, put it in the gun, and lay it on the car. Man, I hope it looks good. Okay, it is the next day now because the fumes were insane in here. It took forever to calm down. But anyways, this is what we're working with. It's really hard to pick up on camera, but I'm really happy with the look that we got here. Looks really good. But now, so obviously you can see, where's a good spot? So you can see the texture in the clear. Like obviously it's super bumpy, and that's because the flake is so big. So it's basically like a bunch of dirt in the paint. Like that's basically what it looks like. I mean, it's not terrible, but some spots are like much worse than others. Like up here is pretty rough. You can kind of see the texture to it. Honestly, it's not that bad, but it's not done. This is the part that a lot of people get wrong with like flake paint jobs, is they just leave it, and it's like that's not how it's supposed to look. So basically what I'm getting to is that now I have to resand the whole car and put more clear on top of it to basically bury the flake and to smooth it out. I did a few spots and like this sanded out no problem, but there's a couple spots here where I sanded, and I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it actually got into the flake, and that's not good because the flakes aren't actually purple. They're just like silver flakes with a purple like anodized or like tint over them. So if your sandpaper touches the flake, it turns silver. So unfortunately what I have to do now, which I didn't really plan on doing this, but I have no choice, is basically just scratch padding the whole car, because I can't use sandpaper because in certain areas it'll burn through and it'll put silver flake all over the car, which I don't want. So what I have to do now is just use like a red Scotch-Brite pad, basically go over the whole car, just scratch it up, don't have to sand it, smooth it out or anything like that, and then just add like 2 or 3 more layers of clear, and then that I should be able to sand perfectly flat and smooth, and then do like 2 more coats, like a flow coat of just clear again, and that will be nice and smooth. So it really sucks. It's a lot of work, but that's, you know, why a lot of people don't do this type of paint job, and why you don't see a lot of really nicely done flake paint jobs, because it's just a lot of work and a lot of labor. This actually really does suck, because I wasn't expecting to have to re-clear the car twice. So now I'm like actually painting the car 3 times. That really wasn't in my mind when doing this, so that's gonna take a lot longer now. But if I just tried to sand this out completely smooth right now, there's gonna be silver flakes all over it, and I don't like that. I don't want that. It'll just look, you know, like crappy. So I figured, you know, I've come this far, I might as well do it properly. And so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scuff it just like this. Just like that, enough to just rough it up. Put 2 or 3 more coats on top of that, because it'll grab onto that. And then once that's dry, I'll let that sit for like a week or whatever, do the parts, then come back to this. Then I can sand this again, like smoothing it right out, straighten it right out. And then I can clear it the final time. So it's really like a lot of clear on the car, but I want to do it properly. It's been a long time coming, so I don't want to waste all the, you know, previous time working on the car and then just kind of throw it all away in the last little bit. So it's not a huge deal. I'm just gonna leave it taped up. I'm a little bit concerned with the like loose flake all over the paper and like on the ground. You can see there's flake everywhere. So I'm gonna try and just like recover the windows real quick, just so there's no loose flake getting all over the place. And then I'll probably, I don't know, sweep the floor or something, because I don't want those flakes then getting, you know, kicked up and right on top of the clear, because it's still gonna leave silver flakes when I go to sand it. So I have to make sure no more flakes end up on the car. And then yeah, it should be okay. I can just put a couple coats of clear on it real quick. Then I'll untape it all, you know, put it back in the corner basically, bring all the parts out here, sand them, do the same process. So it's gonna take a lot longer than I thought, unfortunately, but like I said, I want it to be nice, I want to do it right, so that's basically what I have to do. Just gonna end the video right there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of the flake. I know a lot of people said that it looks better without the flake, but this is a different flake. So I don't know, I think it looks good. I'm excited to see it like outside in the sun. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. So if you want to give a thumbs up, give a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, if you're not already, that would be really cool. Much appreciated. If not, it's not a big deal. But it's gonna do it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one.